Hello everyone, thanks for having me. My name is Eugen and I work as Head of Product Extensibility at CI Hub. And I'm also a plugin developer. I'm the creator of Arranger, Omada, and Mate. Mate is an AI assistant for Illustrator and InDesign. Today's talk is for developers, sure, but also for designers, and especially for everyone in between like myself. Maybe you've heard about vibe coding before. It's a term coined by Andrej Karpathy, co-founder of OpenAI. It's a way of producing software in which you embrace AI assistance. It's a very intuitive, flow-based, conversational way of coding. Basically, you just talk to the AI and let it write the code for you. And you don't care so much about the details as long as it works. Today, I want to show you how we can use it for creative work and to support creatives. I will show you a rather old design concept, which in combination with AI can become a foundational framework to create very dynamic designs. We humans, we will keep the fun and creative parts, and we let AI do the tedious and time-consuming tasks. I had the pleasure of studying at college in the city of Constance, at the Lake Constance. It is located in the very south of Germany, at the border to Switzerland. There we had some professors from Switzerland. They played a very active role in the famous Swiss design era from the 50s, 60s, 70s. If you're not familiar with Swiss design and the role, you can ask Perplexity about Josef Müller-Brockmann, Karl Gerstner, grid systems, Swiss typography. What they taught us was a concept called constant variables design in German. In English, you would call it constantly changing design or flexible design, systematic design, or nowadays just generative design. On day one, they gave us this book here by Karl Gerstner, Designing Programs, and said, this is how it's going to be here. In this book, Gerstner laid out the foundation for this kind of design / design thinking. And the best example that I can give you is this one here. Border Musik means music box. It was a record shop and kind of cultural center in Basel. And Gerstner was commissioned to design the logo. His design was this box or frame. And the interesting part is that he didn't define static proportions. Instead, he said the frame is as wide as the medium, minus some margins. For letters, it's as wide as a letter sheet. For banner layout, it's as wide as a banner. For a business card, as wide as a card, and so on. For that time, it was quite revolutionary. So instead of defining an exact design like you see in design manuals, he designed a rule. If you stick to the rules, every outcome is valid. And with all good concepts, nature operates in a very similar way. Nature itself is generative. Think of DNA as a set of rules at the growing process, and then you get a nice result. The effect that we want to have for design is like this. Every flower has unique details, the number of petals, the shape of the petals, even the colors are unique. Still, everyone can recognize them as belonging together. They are part of a family. You can apply this effect to any kind of design. You can use it for corporate design, like they did here in the year 2000. They used this interference pattern as a logo. And each application was different, used another variant. Everybody could recognize to what it belongs. Or you can distinguish different departments of one institution, like here for the MIT Media Lab. Or for advertising. It's the same principle. Each ad is unique, but in total, you've got a series, like this famous one here from Absolute. And the question, of course, is where are the edges? Where's the border? When does the effect stop? Like here in the festival example. Is it still part of this rule set? And you can also think of fonts, font families, it's in the name, in the same way. Each character is different, but in total, they need to be considered like belonging to one family. And even as something as linear as a documentary or a movie can be made generative. Like this documentary about Brian Eno, they wrote a software that would produce for each screening a unique version. So you would never see the same film twice. The challenges are not defining the rules, but to produce the production are the real challenges. Creating these designs manually is really hard. Another way to approach this would be via code, but designers don't code and developers don't design, usually. Well, it turns out AI is a perfect companion for this vibe creating. For this, I made a CP extension for Illustrator that will help us to produce these designs. Of course, you can use ChatGPT or Claude or any other service. You could even roll real-world dice to get random numbers, or you could code this yourself. But Mate makes this process much, much simpler. So what is Mate? Mate is an extension for Adobe Illustrator that lives in a panel right here. And basically it's a chat interface to several AI services. You pick one and then you prompt your request. Let's start with a super simple example. Count selected items. So we select these, hit send, and wait a few seconds. And then there's our answer right away. What Mate did is write extend script for us, right in the moment for our request, and executed it right away here. So let's take a look at a more complex example. Let's say we have this set of group items here, and these items nested inside these groups, and they have several opacities. So, and let's say we want to have them all to be 100 opacity. And I've got this prompt here saved earlier. Set all elements on all levels to 100% opacity. Hit send, wait a few seconds. Mate will write the script for us. You get this message here, and here we go. All items are on 100% opacity. And with this, Mate can be your assistant, your helper for any kind of task. Mate can do everything that Adobe scripting allows it to do. So let me show you how we can apply our concept here to produce some nice business cards. The basic idea is to have business cards that are based on the name of the person and its title. So each person gets its own very own pattern and by this business card. So we brief Mate here and tell it what we want to do. And there's step 1 of our core mechanic here. Above, we've got the 85 by 55 millimeter business card artboard. And below, there's another one that's hosting our source material, our icons that we want to use for our pattern. So we tell Mate that it should take these source icons and copy it over to our target artboard and arrange it in a grid. In the next step, we do some adjusting of the grid so that it looks nicer, and we are making some space for the name and the title. So we don't care about the details very much right now. We can adjust it on the way later, but for now, it's important that the core mechanic is working. Then we are adding the names, and I must admit I had some issues here with the name. One issue is that it placed the text frames outside of the artboard. That is due to the flipped y-axis of Adobe Illustrator API. So it's a little bit the quirky nature of Illustrator scripting. And I asked Mate to fix it, and it did so, but produced this not so nice text frames, and it didn't choose a very nice font. So let's adjust this. Basically, I did this manually to get the values. I added the Barlow as the font, the light style for the title, adjusted the sizes and the positioning. So I got the basic levels. And then comes step 2 of our core mechanic. This is the important part. We are telling Mate to invent a system to map the name, the characters to the symbols. Place them randomly, apply opacity, but have it based on the name and the title. And to make it a little bit more interesting, I also asked it to leave out some cells. So we got this. And you can see this is a little bit ahead or one level higher than just having a simple random grid. A test with another name. And regarding the names, I also told Mate to produce realistic sounding fake names to use for our data. So this is also a very good use case for Mate to produce dummy data for our designs. So the core mechanic is working. Now here's another example with another name and another pattern. Another one. And let's make this a little bit more interesting. I went to Adobe Stock and got this set of items here. And let's say our corporate design uses these symbols here. I put them into our source artboard here and told Mate that we have a different set of symbols now, or icons. Now they are 48, and it needs to adjust its mapping system. And it did. We need to correct the sizes here, and we need to fix the color of our text frames. So I asked it to reduce the size of the icons and also take the color from the icons and apply that to our text frames. So this is what we got. Now we need to adjust the positioning of our grid. I did this manually. I opened the code editor and found on line 82, I found the value. It's very helpful that it also comments the code. Then I adjusted the value and told Mate to use this new value as a default. And basically, this is our final result. And because we've got Mate here, we can also ask it to help us to produce a lot more of these business cards. Now that we've got our logic in place, we can just ask it to produce 6 more of these cards. Or 6 in total. And it did so. And for Mate, it doesn't matter if we want 5 more or 50 more. We just ask it to produce as many as we want by applying our generative logic here, and it will just produce this for us. So here I'm going to show you how you can create a similar effect as the plexus effect. It's a plugin for After Effects. As far as I know, it's not available for Illustrator. And some of you may have seen it. It's very popular. You've got these dots and they are connected with lines. And sometimes you also have these triangle shapes between the lines. So it's a rather complex, very organic looking effect. So how can we recreate this? Let's do this step by step. So in this chat here, I ended up with the effect, and because we don't have so much time, I'm going to show you the end result here. This is what we get. And if we take a look at it and deconstruct it, we can see that it has a rather simple structure. We got our triangles here, and then we have those lines that connect the dots. And in the end, or in the start, we've got our dots here. So what I did is ask Mate to create a layer, dots, and create in there 100 ellipses randomly placed on the artboard. So this is the first step. We just get these dots here. And then in the next step, I ask Mate to create a new layer and pick some of those dots and connect 3 of them, the 3 neighboring dots, like here. It took this one here in the center and connected it to the other ones. And if there's already a connection, then ignore it. So these are the basic rules. In the next step, create a new layer. We call it areas. And then pick some of those lines and connect the dots and the lines to a triangle shape. So this is what we get here. And this is basically our effect here. And super important, tell it to apply to the current artboard size. So that when you have another artboard, let's say in this size here, and you let it run, then it can adapt. Of course, you would need to change some parameters, but let's keep it here on our big artboard. What I did additionally is I added this exclude zone. So if this is visible, then don't touch this area. So the script will produce our effect around this area. And we can use it to place our logo, our message, images in there. So as we have seen, and in my opinion, it's not about AI or no AI. Is AI bad? The question is just, how are we going to use it? And I would like to see it as we keep the control, we are the creative brains, and the AI does the hard work for us. And I think super important is just to start experimenting. Try it out. Let me know what you produced, or reach out if you have any questions on omada.io. You can always reach me. There are all the contact details and the links to Mate. So please share your creations with me. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Eugen, for this great presentation. And it seems you already have a lot of fans here in the chat. Mate is amazing, and similar to what also Eric Snowden showed us to us earlier, what they did in After Effects, Mate is here as a final product, both for designers and for developers. So you can also build your scripts and save the scripts separately. It's amazing. Eugen is still here in the chat if you want to ask him. I hope you and the CI Hub team have a great offsite meeting at the moment and for the next few days.
Developers Live. Developers Live. Developers Live.